Today, we peer into one of nature's most chilling marine phenomena, the waterspout. Imagine a towering, twisting column of wind and sea, an aquatic tornado descending from storm clouds into the ocean's surface. It can appear deceptively beautiful, yet its power can be lethal. In this video, we'll unravel the science behind waterspouts, trace their horrifying history, and explore tragic cases where lives were claimed by these deadly vortices, and what ultimately became the fate of the super yacht Bayesian and its passengers off Sicily's coast in 2024. Hello, and welcome to Deadliest Disasters. A waterspout is essentially a vortex of wind which forms over a body of water. There are two main types, the fair weather waterspout and a tornadic waterspout. Fair weather waterspouts form under relatively benign conditions, often along the dark, flat base of developing cumulus clouds. They start at the water's surface and climb skyward toward the cloud base, typically dissipating if they touch land. Tornadic waterspouts, which are true tornadoes over water, or ones that move from land to sea. They possess the same ferocity as land-based tornadoes, high winds, hail, and dangerous lightning. Meteorologically, waterspouts form when warm, moist air near the water surface rises into the cooler air aloft, creating instability. A small vertical disturbance, sometimes a weak updraft or convergence line, initiates rotation. As that rotation tightens, a funnel forms. Initially, you see a dark spot or disk on the water where the vortex touches, then a spray ring radiates outward, and eventually a fully visible funnel descends from the cloud. Even fair weather waterspouts can produce sustained winds over 50 miles per hour. Tornadic waterspouts can exceed 100 miles per hour, creating powerful waves over 10 feet high, enough to rip vessels apart into 1,000 pieces. Waterspouts have terrorized mariners and coastal dwellers for centuries. The earliest recorded deadly waterspout struck the Grand Harbor of Valletta in the island of Malta. In April of the year 1551, a colossal column of air and sea devoured 4 galleys and countless smaller boats. Hundreds of people drowned. Locals described the vortex as a fiery column that leapt from the sea to the heavens, leaving a shattered harbor in its wake. Fast forward 3 centuries to the year 1851 in western Sicily, where twin waterspouts made landfall near Palermo's shores. These funnels, born from a rapidly intensifying thunderstorm, tore through coastal villages, uprooting trees, capsizing fishing boats, and throwing humans hundreds of yards from where they once stood. Estimates place the death toll at dozens, though local records are incomplete. These events remind us that even in the age of wooden sailboats, the sea's fury could spawn phenomena more fearsome than anyone would have imagined. Experienced mariners knew to avoid ominous cloud bases, yet few could escape when the vortex formed above them. Some maritime disasters can also be attributed to microbursts, or white squalls, which are rare but violent downdrafts at sea. On July 13, 1890, a sudden microburst, an intense, localized downdraft, struck the excursion steamer Sea Wing on Lake Pepin, capsizing it in seconds. 86 passengers, many who were children, perished in the icy waters. The captain's log mentions a white squall, or sudden violent windstorm without the black clouds of a typical storm. In 1961, the American brigantine Albatross vanished near the Bahamas. Captain Christopher Sheldon believed a white squall or microburst overwhelmed the vessel just beyond the horizon. Modern meteorologists note that a downburst could have caused a rapid capsize. Fast forward to 2010, the steel-hulled tall ship Concordia, built as a floating high school and sail training ship, encountered a sudden downburst, likely a microburst off Brazil's coast. Within seconds, sails were torn, masts buckled, and the ship heeled over so abruptly that students and faculty had mere moments to scramble into lifeboats. Thankfully, all 64 on board survived, but the ship sank on her starboard side. White squalls don't resemble the classic tornado funnel. Instead, they're sudden roars of wind, invisible until they hit. White-capped waves and spray the only harbinger. Whether labeled waterspout or microburst, these events underscore how a calm sea can turn deadly in the blink of an eye. Some of the sea's greatest mysteries might hide waterspouts or microbursts behind them. Mary Celeste in the year 1872 is perhaps the most famous ghost ship found adrift with no soul aboard. Theories abound: piracy, alcohol fumes, a submerged iceberg, or a sudden squall. One meteorological hypothesis suggests a waterspout strike or even the low pressure under its funnel could force water from the bilges into the pumps, making the crew believe the ship was flooding. Convinced of imminent doom, they abandoned the ship, only for the Mary Celeste to drift unmanned with no survivor ever found. Ghost ships like this remind us that the sea, driven by forces unseen, can render vessels deadly even without leaving visible scars. And while waterspout forced abandonment remains conjecture, the line between fact and rumor often blurs when no survivors remain to tell the tale. The story reaches its darkest chapter off Sicily's coast on August 19, 2024. The luxury sailing yacht Bayesian, owned by British tech tycoon Mike Lynch, lay anchored 300 meters off Porticello, a quaint fishing village east of Palermo. On board were Lynch, his daughter Hannah, his legal counsel, friends, and a hand-picked crew, 22 souls total, celebrating his recent acquittal in a long-running U.S. fraud trial. No one anticipated the fury that would descend that night. Weather forecasts predicted isolated thunderstorms, but nothing that would be catastrophic. Then around 2 a.m., a mesocyclonic storm erupted, winds reportedly reaching force 12 on the Beaufort scale. Witnesses later described a swirling funnel or a water tornado that formed just offshore. In seconds, the Bayesian heeled violently. Some passengers were thrown into the churning sea, others struggled into life rafts. Marauding seas, 10 to 15-foot waves pounded the vessel, tearing lifelines and crushing hopes of a calm evacuation. When dawn broke, 15 survivors, some of the lucky few who reached a Dutch ship, clung to drifting inflatable rafts. But 7 bodies were lost: Mike Lynch, his daughter Hannah, and 5 friends and crew. Post-mortems revealed that several were found in air pockets within the inverted hull, suggesting they survived the initial capsizing but suffocated before they could be rescued. The exact cause remains disputed. Some experts cite the waterspout as the primary culprit, its vortex tearing the yacht's towering aluminum mast and pitching her onto her side. Others argue an open hatch let in a torrent of water, compounding the chaos. Regardless, the Bayesian sank fully in just 16 minutes. Salvage efforts continue using remote underwater vehicles. A diver's death in May 2025 while cutting the mast free underscores the lurking dangers still tied to that night. Official inquiries by Italy's investigators and Britain's Marine Accident Investigation Branch probe whether human error, design flaws, or pure meteorological malevolence sealed the fate of the Bayesian. While the Bayesian tragedy captured global attention, it's far from the only modern incident. Malta, 1983. A mini waterspout struck a tourist ferry near Gozo Island, sweeping 4 passengers into the sea. Miraculously, all 4 were rescued. Lake Erie, September 23, 2004. Multiple waterspouts formed during a cold front passage, forcing sudden closures of marinas and scattering fishermen. While no fatalities occurred, property damage was extensive: overturned boats, shattered dock pillings, roofs torn from lakefront homes. The Florida Keys, June 5, 2009. 4 fair weather waterspouts danced off Key West. Tour boat passengers captured the ominous funnels on camera, but they rapidly dissipated upon making landfall. Waterspouts and microbursts are reminders that the ocean can turn into an agent of terror in moments. From medieval galleys in Valletta's harbor to the towering sails of a multi-million-dollar superyacht, no vessel is immune when they get caught in these dangers. Thank you all for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and let me know what other topics you'd like me to cover. This has been Deadliest Disasters.